Apple Intelligence is here. A bit. Kind of. And well, there will be more to come, and actually it will come to more places, many more places. This is a very early first look at what Apple Intelligence offers us as writers so far. Did I mention that it's only kind of here a bit? Hello, I'm William Gallagher, and this is 58 Keys, which, as ever, as always, is for writers like you and me who use and who write on Macs and iPhones and iPads. Do subscribe or support 58 Keys on Patreon, because as ever, there is a lot to talk about. There's so much to talk about, but how much depends on where you are in the world and how brave you feel about installing beta software on your iPhone or iPad or Mac. If you're in the US, by the way, let's get this clear, you have to download the iOS 18.1 developer beta to get this Apple Intelligence stuff so far. You get that update through Software Update, and then you get your head examined if you want to install any beta anywhere. Okay, but yeah, it's important. It's the 18.1 beta that you need to get. Apple is continuing to test 18 point nothing, whatever you call that as well. So 18.1. And then again, if you're in the States, you have to go into Settings, Apple Intelligence and Siri, and tap to join the Apple Intelligence waitlist. I think it took about an hour, maybe less, before I rattled through and was on the list and had it all. You get a notification whenever it is that you're in, so that's nice. If you're not in the States, and I'm in the UK, well then first you have to set your iPhone's region to the US, set your language to English US, and also I kept missing this. It tells you all the time, but I kept missing it. Also set your Siri language to English US as well. And then you have to go to that Apple Intelligence Siri section of settings, and then you have to tap to get onto the waitlist thing. Tap the button for that. Wherever you are in the world, you need to ignore everything I just said and carry on with your life until Apple Intelligence and iOS 18.1 are out publicly, safely, in the next few months. Look, I had to try. Here's what you get when you go through all of this stuff. You get a new Siri, kind of, there's a lot of kind ofs here today, writing tools, and a little bit towards more control over apps via Siri, I think. Actually, let me please do Siri first, because while writing tools, I think, are the big obvious addition for us as writers, it was actually the promise of a radically improved Siri that got me excited in the whole of Apple Intelligence. I like Siri. But there are times when I've got a bit miffed at it, really. You ask Siri to play something and it plays something else. You ask it to take you somewhere using Apple Maps, and it does. Yeah, but it also complains that you don't seem to have an app called Maps. It's right there. Calm. And most aggravating of all, I think, you ask Siri to do something now, okay? And then in an hour's time, you ask exactly the same thing, but you get totally different results. Quite exasperating. So, because of all that, Siri was in fact the very first thing I tried when Apple Intelligence was on my iPhone. And there's a great new animation. It goes around the sides of your screen instead of being a little circle at the bottom, and it is actually, yeah, it's fun. The thing is, you see that animation and you think, aye, Siri's been updated, and yeah, but no, not fully. Pretty much everything we've been promised about a better Siri, an improved Siri for the next decade or whatever, that's not here yet. It will come. It will come in the next few months. But for now, it has a little animation. Let's not knocking that. And it does also have this business of Siri at least starting to understand follow-up questions. I even found this hard to try it out because I'm so used to the way Siri's been working forever. But I asked, what is the capital of the UK? And then when it said London, I immediately asked, how far away is that? previously, you'd have had to say, how far away is London? You'd start an entire new query. But now Siri gets it and tells you the answer. Only, I am so certain that this is how Siri was always supposed to work, that Apple making a big deal of it now feels like, well, what they're talking about before, was it never, what was I trying? At least it works now. Let's go with that. At least so far it works so far. Also, I can say play the latest episode of the 99% Invisible podcast, and it will do it seemingly more consistently than before. Hard to tell yet, but it worked, whereas sometimes it didn't. I can say, and I believe this is new, I can say, send a WhatsApp message to X saying Y, or text to X saying Y. Done. I keep saying say, but for some reason, I'm actually having trouble getting this to recognize when I ask for anything. I'm finding, for whatever reason, I have to press and hold the iPhone's side button. Given that it steps you through training Siri again to hear you and recognize you, I don't know what's happening there. I don't know if I've done something wrong for it. Also, I don't know why I can't say play the first episode of the 99% Invisible podcast. Well, I mean, I can say it, but my iPhone will say, all right then, and then play Immersive Historic Markers by something called Invisible Ground instead. Okay. You're supposed to be able to tell Siri something and then correct it part way. So, take me to my mum's. No, I mean, take me to the Library of Birmingham. That gets me a map of Birmingham and a listing of some vague online results about council services or something. Take me to the Library of Birmingham, and it throws up a contact page for the Birmingham Women's Hospital instead. Oh, I'll try this as well. Where is the Library of Birmingham? That gets me, I don't understand. But change it to where is Birmingham Library, and I get a list of them. There are a lot of libraries in Birmingham, fortunately. But okay, what's the address of the Library of Birmingham? Yeah, it gets me the same contact details for the hospital, which, by the way, the contact details, they don't have the address in there. So for now, Siri is not massively improved. It isn't much different, but it's a little bit different. It's a little bit better. And as well as more features rolling out later, I'm pretty sure that things are going to get better anyway as I use it. It will get used to what I ask for, things like that. We've seen it before. I think we're seeing it again. But today, Siri is a bit disappointing. I do like the new animation though. I wonder if it will get old. Now then, writing tools. These work. There are limits, some of which I really didn't expect, but they work. Select some or all text in something, tap to bring up controls if they don't automatically appear, and find writing tools. Sometimes they're right there in front of you. Sometimes you have to kind of scurry along, tap along the row until they appear. Also with Pages, I have sometimes found that there just wasn't a writing tools option until I tapped away from that row of controls to get rid of them, selected the text again and tapped again to get the row of controls back. It's a beta, yeah. So select text, tap along to writing tools, and so far, well, they are definitely best on short pieces like emails. Now, I tried it, for instance, on an overly archaic set of paragraphs in an email, and then also on an article I'd actually already written in Pages. And let's take the email first. I wrote this faux, archaic, over-the-top greeting like I had a quill pen in my hand. And when selected, when writing tools were tapped, Apple Intelligence did a good job of making it more friendly, more professional, or just more concise. Friendly, professional, concise. Those are your options. Those are your options, and I'll never use any of them in a real message, but they did work. Only one thing, it's surprisingly easy, I think, to tap to have Apple Intelligence replace your selected text with its rewritten version. And normally that would be good, wouldn't it? Normally that would be what you want. That's why you did it. But if it doesn't happen to be what you wanted, you can't get back your original afterwards. Once you've tapped and selected, undo doesn't seem to work. Next, proofreading, which is actually the option I expected I would use. And I think I still may, just not yet, because right now, well, there just isn't much there. It isn't doing much for me, not yet. It also, again, it seems to only try to do anything on short pieces. And actually, I can imagine that is tied to hardware. I have an iPhone 15 Pro, but the iPhone 16 Pro and certainly the iPhone 17 Pro next year, they are expected to have hardware in them that helps all of this. So, I don't know, gives us all a bit more oomph to do these types of things. For now, though, I don't really know what's supposed to happen with proofreading, because it just showed me my same text. Maybe I'm perfect. Yeah, all right. Proofreading getting nowhere is one thing. There is also then the rewrite button, and that did change my text. But so far, okay, it reminds me of a sub-editor, a particular sub-editor I used to know and work with on a certain magazine, and this one particular sub would quite often just rewrite people's text only so that they were writing instead of solely editing all day. The final text, it was neither better nor worse, it was just different. And that's what I felt with rewrite. Note, by the way, that rewrite seems so far to be like proofreading in that you tap it and it does its thing. It does what it does. There doesn't appear to be a lot of options with it. It doesn't seem to let you work that friendly, professional, concise stuff on the way. It just rewrites. One curious thing. Writing Tools is not yet aware of context. Apple says that Siri understands or will understand what you're looking at. But so far I've seen no difference in that. If you say, remind me about this, and you're looking at a website or an Apple News article, well, then it works. It will remind you of that site, that article. But the rest of the time, it's still very common. It'll say, what do you want to be reminded about? Okay. And keep repeating it. Actually, it kind of flashes up until you say something or clear it. But anyway, speaking of Apple News, I've just got to tell you this one because it's been bugging me for so long. There's still a strange thing where I get a section called Shared With You, I'm sure you do as well, which lists articles that friends of mine have sent me. How the hell, though, not one of the listed people there have sent me even one of these apparently shared articles? I mean, why? Where do they get this from? Why don't my friends want to share? Anyway, context, that's how I got into this. If you select some text in an email, right, that you have already sent, Writing Tools will still offer to try to make it more friendly or whatever. Plus, I tried this out on quite a terse email I sent this morning, and as well as being frankly pointless because I have already sent the email, I went into the sent items book, picked one. I think this shows the limit of artificial intelligence compared to actual intelligence. Without saying who it was that I was corresponding with, I've had this peculiar thing, okay, where someone from an email company has been pressing me to work with them in some way on something, but entirely failing to read my email replies where I've said yes and then asking some questions. The other day, I gave up. I told him no. I told him that it was funny at first, email company, not reading emails, but I'm tired of repeating myself, I'm tired of being ignored. Just screw it. I don't want to work with them. I don't need to. Let it go. Today they emailed back saying, so what do you mean? Will we work together or not? My terse reply I remember this, I did mention that I got the irony of an email company not reading emails. But Apple Intelligence, it did successfully try to make that a little less annoyed sounding, a bit more friendly. But the way it's phrased it, Apple Intelligence is rewriting, made it read as if I had made a joke that they didn't get, instead of them family show. Plus, Apple Intelligence, the way it phrased it, it wants me to carry on working with these people. That is the actual opposite of what I said. Similarly, I had writing tools summarize an article I wrote in Pages, an article about a mentoring problem. Well, it's not much of a problem, but that's why there was an article. The summary was wrong. One of the summaries was wrong. I did a writing mentoring thing with someone who said halfway through that actually my writing is good enough. She said, I don't want any writing mentoring. Okay. Still being paid, still on the clock. We segued into mentoring on another topic that she needed. Unfortunately, I thought I knew something about. Apple Intelligence says she stopped the mentoring halfway. And that's it. Doesn't go on, doesn't care. I just bothers me a little bit there. Worries me, in fact. I think actually you could make an argument that I just don't write clearly. I mean, I expect that's what the email company would probably say. And of course, I will now immediately change my writing style to suit that email company and, in fact, all of artificial intelligence. I feel like I'm hitting the limits of AI, actually of AI, artificial intelligence, rather than necessarily of Apple intelligence. But it is a bit disappointing to be hitting the limits actually within minutes of trying this stuff. But there are good points. Let me stress that. Good points there are. Such as summarizing. If you go to an article in Safari and tap the reader view, you now often get the option to read a summary of that article. Now, okay, since, I had that problem, I had that mistake really over the mentoring article that I had written. I'm naturally cautious about articles that I read, but it does do exactly what I expected, which is give me a fast idea of whether an article is likely to be worth reading for whatever it is I'm researching, because I'm usually researching in a hurry. Is this good, bad, move on? Yeah, that's something I think I'm going to use, and I may even use a lot. So far, I'm not seeing the related AI-generated chapter list. I mean, maybe I'm just not looking at articles that are long enough to warrant that, but actually, I don't have a thin clue how long that is. I'm also not yet seeing Safari highlights. Other people are. I don't know why I'm not. It's the feature where Safari will pull out key information. This actually is the same hotel website that Apple demonstrated this feature with, and it should be showing me the address of the particular venue, the particular version of the hotel, the site of the hotel, one of its grounds, whatever. I could be doing something wrong. I realise that, but it's not there for me. Then, well, this goes on a bit, doesn't it? I'm not seeing any categorization of emails yet. But I think it was maybe an hour after I'd installed Apple Intelligence, I started seeing a summarize button at the top of every email in my inbox. It's like when you've upgraded an iPhone, they take a few days to kind of sort themselves out, to index basically all of your data, all of your documents, so that Siri and Spotlight can do more, so things can launch faster. It seems to me that Apple Intelligence is doing a similar thing of taking a while to get going. I mean, it wasn't there at first, an hour later it was. I think then it will get better over time. But anyway, the summarize feature in email, it's there. It's not great. I think it's a bit weak on the stuff we would do. It's a bit weak on subtext. One email summary said that I had expressed reluctance over some idea when actually I was the one who proposed it. It was my idea in the first place. I see why it did it, because at the time it was quite jokey between both me and my recipient, but it's something he got when he read it. I obviously got it because I wrote it. You would have understood it straight away. Yet Apple Intelligence seemed to take it at more than face value. It wasn't sarcasm. Is there a slider? Yeah. Anyway, I must immediately change my writing style to suit AI. Actually, because there's... Right, hi, late edition. I am so pleased with this late edition. I've got to jump in to tell you this. Something good that's happened with Apple Intelligence. Since I recorded that thing you were just watching a second ago. That bit you just saw where I said that a mail summarize feature wasn't there at first. Let me be really clear because this becomes relevant. I got Apple Intelligence, okay, there was no summarize button in mail. And then maybe an hour later, possibly, somewhere in there. I was in mail and I saw it, there it was. But a day later, actually I think it was more like a day and a half before I noticed. It was a substantial amount of time anyway, I'm not quite sure now. The next thing about Apple Intelligence kicked in and was working, and this is tremendous. Look at this, please. This is a shot of my Apple Mail inbox this morning. And look, instead of each entry showing the first few lines of the email, it's showing a summary. Just like that. That's so useful. That is hands down fantastic, I think. I mean, so with a glance, right, I can see what an email is about, and so also see straight away whether I need to read it now, whether I need to deal with it now or not. I think that is Apple Intelligence being unequivocally, undeniably useful, and it is brilliant. Well, I say unequivocal. Let me be equivocal for a second. That one there towards the top from Sophie. Last night, Sophie emailed me some information and I replied saying, thank you, obviously, and also what I was going to use the information for. And this email you're seeing there is actually her replying saying thanks. So the correct summary of that email would be thanks. Instead, Apple Intelligence has, for some reason, decided to summarize the very first email in the thread. Okay. And that one at the bottom, actually it's a different Sophie. I did not make the connection before. Two Sophies, no waiting. For some reason, her message is not summarised. Those are actually the opening 3 lines of that email from her. Also, this is my iCloud email inbox. Only emails in this inbox have been summarised, which I think you'd expect. Somehow, wouldn't you? I mean, iCloud is Apple's, this is Apple Intelligence, yeah. And yet, Apple is stressing repeatedly how all of this stuff is being done on device. The summarising, anything Apple Intelligence is being done on my iPhone. So I don't know why it hasn't summarised every inbox message. I don't know whether it's supposed to or not. We'll see. Also, this is the neatest inbox. I've got to kind of let the other ones pile up a bit, but I stay on top of this one. This is the main one. So in this case, there were just a few unread messages. Did that make a difference compared to 20 or 30 in the others? I don't know. I did wonder whether it takes a time for the summarising to happen. Because, as it happened, I didn't look at my inbox there for 2 hours, maybe 3 yesterday evening. So maybe I'd left it alone long enough and I had time to summarise those. But I took that screenshot you just saw at 6:04 this morning. Look at the detail here. And another email came in at 6:09. I know for certain it was summarised by 6:20. I think I noticed it was faster than that, but I'm not sure, can't prove it. Anyway, this is all detail. I think I might be a bit overexcited by this detail. But to me, this is Apple Intelligence doing what it should. It's not rewriting things for me. It isn't getting in the way. It isn't offering me a friendly button. It is taking something I use and making it a little bit better. Love that. And now, back to the previous record. I recorded it yesterday. I was younger then. Yeah, I'm not sounding like the biggest fan of Apple Intelligence. I think it's going to become something we use like we do spelling checkers, online dictionaries, things. I thought that before we had it. Now I've got it, I feel kind of reaffirmed in this. Tools to help us in the moment. Tools to help us do what we do as writers. We'll still do what we do. These will help. I did kind of expect more. Maybe I bought the hype, but I mean, come on. This is the first developer beta of something we are not going to see officially released, finished, if you like, until at least October. And some of this, actually, I think quite a lot of it, is not going to be here until next year. By the way, there will also be an image playground that lets you create images for some reason. And by then, actually, perhaps I'll also be clearer on things like when Apple Intelligence needs to go online to answer whatever it is I'm looking for. I know this is a Siri thing and it won't happen until all of this is together. But I also know that then it won't ever do it without telling me, without saying, "Oi, William, mind if I check in with ChatGPT?" I know that, and I know it hasn't done it for me yet because of this. But I think also everything I've asked it to do so far, it's actually been able to do on my iPhone itself, instead of going out to the web and stuff. And I think that's good. I like that. I think what Apple's doing is right with on-device stuff. But I feel like I'm finding the edges of Apple Intelligence, and maybe even the inadequacies, really. Whereas the truth is, I know you and we are both going to get to explore this over the next many years, and it will keep getting better. For now, though, that's it for this edition of 58 Keys, for this very first look at Apple Intelligence for writers. Thank you very much for watching. Now, take care of yourself. Immediately change your writing style to suit AI, and I'll see you soon.